All right, we're about to get started. Thank you so much, y'all. If we can get to the center, quiet down a bit.
Hello. Hey, we're going to get started now. Can we have your attention, please?
Can we please have your attention?
What's it, clap once if you hear me? Clap once if you hear me. Clap twice if you hear me. All right, let's go. I don't know if that's the way it went, but that's the way it went. All right, so welcome to the Black Women Talk Tech and Black Ambition Prize event. Thank you all for being here. My name is Tani Chambers. Let me take off my shades so y'all can see me. My name is Tani Chambers. I am the founder of Raven. Raven is a collaborative learning and investment platform tailored to Black women. I am also a member of Black Women Talk Tech. So, the largest organization in the world for Black women founders and professionals in tech. So, and I am pleased to be joined by Esosa Ighodaro Johnson and Regina Gwynn, the founders of Black Women Talk Tech. So give it up for them, guys. All right. So the first question is, since founding Black Women Talk Tech, how have you adapted the vision that you initially had to the changing environment? We've been through a lot since you founded, so how has that changed?
It changed a whole lot. Actually, in the very, very beginning, we're incredibly selective with who can come to Black Women Talk Tech because we thought, hey, if you're not full-time, you know, you might not really be in this like that, right? Then we did this huge report sampling 1,000 people of our community, and it told us that actually 92% of your population works full-time and does their startup. So we were designing the program all wrong. And so that switched for us completely, and we started to really start to design real programming to meet the needs of the fuller audience and not just 8% of our audience. And so that really changed the shape of how we started to like really create access for everyone who has variant size of time and opportunity to kind of build and scale their startups. And so we started really opening the opportunity across the country. And you can add to that if you'd like.
Sure. The research report that Esosa mentioned is called the Face of a Founder report. So you can go to www.talktechassociation.org/Face of a Founder report. As she mentioned, the report was commissioned by Samsung Next. So big shout to Samsung. That venture team has been really, really amazing and supported us. One of the other findings was that most Black women are starting as solo founders, meaning that they do not have a CTO, they do not have a CMO, they do not have this founding team. And yet they are doing all of those things, right? But they're just doing all of the things because that's just inherently what Black women do. Right? We are resourceful. We make $1 out of 15 cents. We are mothers and caretakers and daughters and sisters while also having billion-dollar business ideas in markets that need to be disrupted and markets that we know specifically that are untapped. And so there's a huge economic opportunity here. This is not about goodwill and social impact and no, I like money.
Investable business.
I put both my hands up. Who likes money in this room? Okay.
Money.
So I am here to get checks. The best way to support a Black woman is to cut her a check. And so, we want to be able to advance those ideas. It behooves smart investors to get in early so that you can, enjoy these outsized valuations and higher profitability that comes from a Black woman entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So you alluded to, well, you said it, Black women have basically unlimited potential, right? And there were some misconceptions on your part and other parts of what a founder looks like, who a founder is, and how a founder operates. So let's talk a little bit more about some of those misconceptions in tech. There might be some people who are new or some people who are not, but don't understand the idea of how we do things a little different.
You want to take that? You can take it.
Nope.
So I think there's a lot of different ways that that women of color are thinking about building businesses. Often, another again point of the research study, the three highest industries where tech entrepreneurs over-index are education tech, healthcare tech, and fintech. So think about the types of problems and challenges that are inherent in those industries: finance, access to capital, access to loans, increased financial literacy, those types of things. Healthcare, disproportionate challenges in maternal health care for women of color. Femtech, there's challenges that are finding the right doctors and nurses and medical professionals. And then education tech, right? Like huge challenges with, children in public schools, finding the right access to improving the learning experience. So we are coming from our own experiences and understanding those pain points very, very intimately. As opposed to, potentially a mainstream tech founder may, have an idea. They think it's cool. They go talk to somebody. They're like, "Here's $1 million. Go figure it out." Right? And they're like, "Okay, I failed." Right? And then completely failed. Now I'm a serial entrepreneur. I get another $1 million. Another
$5 million.
Another $5 million
for failing.
To fail again. Right? So, I think that there's something that's very special about being able to know the problem intimately, be able to speak to it well and tell a story that only we can tell. We're able to translate much more accurately how these problems affect us, and that they are huge problems, and that they're affecting not only people of color, but everyone. And it's not just always having a Black founder solve a Black problem, but that we can be a Black founder that just happens to solve a problem that everyone has an issue with.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the future. We talked about what is and what's often overlooked. So let's talk about the future. What lies in 2022 and beyond? What do you think is coming up?
For Black Women Talk Tech, for founders in general?
Well, both.
Okay.
Right?
Well, we're gonna
because
start with Black
founders
Women
in general,
Talk Tech.
and then how Black Women Talk Tech is going to approach that as well.
Okay. So something that we've been kind of discussing and talking about is how to help more founders where we create and curate spaces. And so one of them is the 6th annual Roadmap to Billions conference. If you haven't
Give it up.
heard about it, you need to. It's going to be at Brooklyn Navy Yard this year, June 15th through the 17th. You can check out roadmaptobillions.co or Black Women Talk Tech. We're going to be in 50,000 square feet of goodness, Black girl magic, and all the connections you need to either hire your next hire, get connected to that next investor, or at the very least find lifelong friends and people in the trenches with you. It's so important to find your tribe, and you can find it with us at that conference. We also do a ton of work around fundraising and finance. So we just had a conference called Face of a Founder, where it's a long day summit on how to raise this money. Because honestly, we again sampled our audience, and I asked them, what's your biggest pain point? And they said trying to get people to cut us checks. And so we dedicated a full day to kind of helping people through the process of what does that look like? What are the KPIs you need to be tracking to be able to kind of tell that story to make sure you land those deals? And a lot of times, you don't know what you don't know, because a lot of people are not telling you because they don't want to be honest about that feedback. And we try to do that in those settings, so it's a safe environment for you to kind of make the missteps, ask the questions, and allow people to get you connected. Because again, if you win, we all win. And we're trying to make a room full of winners. And so the whole point of us kind of creating programs in this way is to really, really see through that the next $1 billion tech founder comes through these doors. The next multi-billion-dollar tech founder gets their idea sparks in these communities in these opportunities that are literally untapped markets for you to go ahead and play in and create totally different solutions, because they're not you. And you're a special individual here for a reason. So seize that opportunity. And so we do that intrinsically through all our programs throughout the year. We also are going to have Roadmap to Billions London this year as well. And we're expanding. And then join us for Black Men Talk Tech in Miami. So who needs a reason to go to Miami? Okay,
Right. I'll be there.
Let's
Yes.
start there.
For sure.
And so we're inviting all of you to really just come, vibe, good vibes, and connect with all the people you need to meet, because that's where you're gonna get the checks written. That's where you're gonna get the next hire, the next people that you need to be meeting to connect you to that next, contract. We really, really, really are important about. We're really, really focused on impact so that you get what you need. Like, nothing else matters. Like, for us, like, that is the main objective. So that's kind of what we're doing. You said also founders in the community.
For founders.
I think the future for founders is bright. Now is the time. We're coming out, hopefully, eyes, fingers, toes crossed, out of this crazy ass pandemic. We've had time to sit, right? We've had time to sit and think. And it's not to say that if you didn't start a business while the pandemic, what are you doing with your life? No, like, it was also a very traumatic experience where racial, environmental, political, socioeconomic, and health problems were happening all at the same time.
That's all?
Right. That's it, right? And yet, we're Black, so that's a regular occurrence for us. So, I think that right now is as I was mentioning, it's like, this is the time to just do it. Like, the best advice I give is just get started. Just start. Like, it does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to freaking work all the way through, but get started. One thing I don't think we mentioned is that both Esosa and I started tech startups ourselves back in 2013, 2014. So we literally have been in your shoes. Like, we know the hustle and the grind and the grit and the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to build a tech startup, something that literally does not exist. There is no blueprint, right? This isn't a franchise. You don't buy it off the shelf and, like, all of a sudden, poof, you've got a tech startup. So, there's something to be said about just getting it out in the market so that you can iterate, test, get that feedback, and then make it better. But what you are doing when you don't start is letting somebody else get started. Okay? And it's not about having, oh my God, I got to send an NDA. Okay, you know what? Like, no one's going to do it exactly like you anyway. So you need to get started, period. So I think that the future is really bright. The more, founders of color are starting to just really own that. It's a very radical act to start a business and to believe that you can build $1 billion business. Right. So, like, being able to know that and have the fortitude to keep that pushing is something that I'm seeing, this groundswell and this momentum. That's really exciting.
Yes. I'm saying yes because I was like, praise them, because listen, I mean, Black women are building and starting businesses faster than any other group in America right now. And so when we say we want to encourage that, like, this is the place to do it. Like, I mean, a future so bright, you're going to need shades. Like, it is so
fan the flames,
important.
fan the flames.
I mean, it's so important because standing up here and being a founder of my own tech company and knowing how hard it was for me to raise money, and I'm one of the lucky ones, raised 1.4 for my company. Yes, we failed, but
no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I mean, it led to bigger and brighter things. It led for me to know exactly what kind of content to build for my audience and my community, because we know firsthand what it takes to kind of go ahead and go through that motion and really see it grow from zero to, a couple hundreds of thousands to 1 million and really beyond. And you can do that too. And so we hope that we can continuously invite you into the space to learn more and more.
Great. So this is technology, this is tech, innovation, right? So to effectively tackle the future, what are some critical changes that we have to make? Because we can't keep doing the same thing, right? To progress, we have to innovate, so forth. Sorry.
So for me, the number one thing I would say is that as Black women, we don't ask for enough help. We constantly try to put so much on ourselves, it's out of control. Like, you want to put everything on your back? Like, stop. Like, you don't know how many people are willing to help you if you just ask. And I think that's the hardest part, because you don't want to rely on anyone else because you just feel like you can handle it yourself. But I want to stand here and truly ask you to really ask for the help, because they're going to be able to take you to the next level. If you don't ask, you won't get. So that's one of the number one things I think as a whole group we can do more of. Ask for the help and you will get the help.
I also think that, yet another piece of the report talked about how many non-technical founders were in our community, right? So non-technical meaning like you yourself, the founder, can't code or, doesn't have the technical expertise. So I have to say, like, you don't have to know everything for sure, but it would be helpful to know something. I think that, me being a non-technical founder hurt so bad. I went through so many CTOs. I went through so much money because I did not have the right technical talent. And so, and I didn't know you talk about not knowing what I didn't know. Good Lord. And so the more we can at least get exposed. I'm not saying everyone go run and take a coding class. I'm not saying everyone run and do those things. However, you are the CEO of the business. It is your responsibility to know, not necessarily every single thing, but at least know enough about a technical stack that you can start to translate some of it into making sure that this is the right platform for your vision. And so I think that's something that I'm hopeful, we'll start to talk a little bit more about this year. We've done a ton of like how to tech classes. We've done, a ton of workshops that just kind of expose our audience to like what is a database, like what is at Microsoft Azure, what is AWS, what is Google Cloud, because it's important just to understand even broad strokes why these things are important to building your product, and especially again given that if you don't find the right CTO, they will take you for a ride. So I'm hopeful that those are some kind of technical advances that we'll be able to change in the future.
And if I may, I would like to add, I think we need more Black investors. We need more Black investors that are invested in the community.
Some in the room.
Yep, see some. I see some.
One is all in green
Shout
over
out to
there.
the Brackeens, okay?
Brackeens in the building.
Right?
Cut me a check.
Black woman, a Black
I need
woman
$100.
investor at that.
I need a
Okay.
$100 investor in
I need
that.
$100.
Yeah, so I think we need more Black investors, and I think we have to move away from the mindset that we don't have enough money to invest. We don't have these things. We do great things collectively. We drive innovation. We drive culture, but we don't profit off of it. So we have the most vested in our community, so it's time that we start to invest in our own. And all the Black women that are here, just come check me out so I can tell you a little bit more about Raven in that vein of things. Okay, so final question is, what is the best way for people who want to dive deeper, become members, become a part of Black Women Talk Tech's community, to follow the work that you are doing or get involved with the work that you guys are doing?
Sure. Definitely hit us up on Instagram. So we are at Black Women Talk Tech on IG. You can come to blackwomentalktech.com to join our newsletter. We also have blackmentalktech.com. So definitely don't want to forget the brothers. The brothers have supported us from the very, very beginning. From the door, we would not be here if it wasn't for our counterparts. And they are also going through very similar challenges in navigating this tech ecosystem. So we'd be remiss if we didn't shout them out. And also just want to give a shout out to like all of our allies, all of our supporters. Like it should be everyone's interest to support Black women entrepreneurs, right? Not just people who look like us, but we want to make sure that, you know, these issues affect our overall GDP. Imagine if we were able to build businesses that gave jobs. Right? Imagine if we were able to build businesses that were able to endow HBCUs. Imagine if we were able to create opportunity that like change like the dynamic of how we see ourselves and how we show up. That's a powerful thing for everybody. That's not just for us. So, so those are again the types of conversations that we have. Definitely hit me up on LinkedIn and like I said, Instagram. Black Women Talk Tech, Black Men Talk Tech, and that's all I got.
She said it all.
Black students.
Oh, forgot. Oh, yeah. Black Students Talk Tech. My bad. Black Students Talk Tech is new. It is a 6-week leadership development program for HBCU students. We're introducing the ideas of entrepreneurship at an earlier age. Imagine if you were to start your startup like Mark Zuckerberg did when he was in college. So we're working on this cohort 2 for that later on this year.
So if you know any students, you know, point them in the right direction. This is, as Regina said, this is a great time. We have a bright future, so we have more resources to start earlier with our community. So thank you so much, ladies, for putting this on.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
Come check us.
Great. Yes.